don't cry. You know this. You've been in pain enough. No. Little girl, don't fight. You finally say enough. One day I'll look into your eyes, show you you don't need to hide behind disguise. Spread your wings, you're terrified. Don't be afraid, you're born to fly. I'm by your side. Sing it with us. I am enough. I am golden, baby. Yeah. I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. I am golden, baby. Yeah. I am enough. I am enough. Ooh, oh, yeah. I am enough. I am enough. Ooh, oh, yeah. I am enough. I am enough. Little girl, it's alright. You've taken the blame. Enough. No. Little boy, don't hide. You've been ashamed. Enough. One day I'll look into your eyes, show you you don't need to hide behind disguise no more. Spread your wings, you're terrified. Don't be afraid, you're born to fly. I'm by your side. Here we go, come on. I am enough. Hey, I am golden, baby. Yeah. I am enough. I am enough. Sing it with us, come on. I am enough. We want to hear you from home. I am golden, baby. Yeah. I am enough. I am enough. Welcome to the kingdom, everybody. My name is Justin Michael Williams. I'm so excited to be with you here today. We have a very special session today on the power of how to love your body with special guest Sonia Renee Taylor. You're in for a real treat today. But for now, I want you to sing this mantra with me. Listen carefully. Here we go. You are enough. You are golden, baby. Yeah. You are enough. All right, everybody in the room, I need you to turn to somebody and sing this to them. You are enough. Online, I want you to type somebody's name into the chat box. Maybe it's your mother. Whether she's here or not here, they're here or not here. And type their name and say, you are enough. You are golden, baby. Because we want to send this message out, all the way out to the world. One more time, mean it from your heart, come on. You are enough. You are golden, baby. Yeah. You are enough. Everybody, come on. We're gonna go till we are enough. We are enough. Hey, we are golden, baby. Yeah. We are enough. We are enough. Yeah, you can dance. Come on. We are enough. Oh, we are golden, baby. Yeah. We are enough. I just want to hear your voices. Come on. We are enough. We are golden, baby. Yeah. We are enough. Let me hear. I want to hear you all the way from home. We are enough. We are enough. We are golden, baby. Yeah. We are enough. Last time. Come on. We are enough. Everybody. We are enough. For everybody in the world. We are golden, baby. Yeah. We are enough. We are enough. We are enough. We are golden, baby. Yeah. We are enough. We are enough. One more time, one more time. We are enough. We are golden, baby. Yeah. We are enough. We are enough. We are enough. Oh, we are golden, baby. Yeah. We are enough. We are enough. Last time, say, we are enough. We are enough. I am enough. You are enough. We are enough. And we rise together. Hello, everybody. Welcome to season 3 of The Kingdom. We are so excited to be with you here today. Today, we have a very special session all upon the power of love, which you know is our theme for season 3. We're doing exploring love in all these different ways. And today is on how to love your body. So I have a question for everybody here And everybody in the chat, I want to see you because I see you all in the chat, Cher and Kaylin and Elka and TJ. Hello, I want to know where you're all from. Type in where you're from in the chat box. So I have a question for you all, okay? This is an important one. How many of you sometimes shame your own body? Raise your hand. Let us know in the chat. All right. How many of you love your body sometimes, but not other times? Like if it only looks a certain way, if it's only a certain thing, then okay, now my body's good, right? Okay. And how many of you understand potentially, and you understand the concept that like spiritually, your body's this magnificent vehicle for your life here on the planet, and you understand the magic of it, but still sometimes you're like, oh, but that. It's this magnificent spiritual experience, except for that part, right? And whether or not you have this experience of needing to love your body more, or you already love your body and you've deeply done this work, today's session with our special guest, Sonya Renee Taylor, who is the New York Times bestselling author of The Body Is Not an Apology, is gonna blow you away. She approaches this from a perspective that I've never seen before. I've been working on loving my body for as long as I can possibly remember. It feels like my whole life. And what I've learned from Sonya has completely changed the way that I think about this altogether. So I'm so excited to be here with all of you. Now, we have a little ritual that we do here at the Kingdom for first timers, okay? In the room, is it anybody's first time at the Kingdom in person? Raise your hand. Couple of you. So we'll welcome our first timers. Everybody reach around and say hello to a first timer. And if you're online, I want you to type the words, all my online family, I see you here, just by the way. I want you to type in the word first time in the chat box, and you will see how everybody welcomes you to this experience. And so if it's your first time, type first time, and our whole family and our whole community will welcome you. Now, there's one thing online that we do that I want to make sure you all know, because I know that I see there's many first timers here actually, that is super important, all right? If you hear me say anything or anybody else in this room say anything that makes you want to go like, amen, or I'm with you, or I love you, or yes, yeah, girl, whatever it is, you just put the number 1 in the chat box a whole bunch of times, and you'll see our audience is already doing it, and we'll show you how to do it. And if you're in the room, how do we do our ones? We throw our ones up like this if we're resonating, and we'll have a lot of magic. And so today's session, I just want to guide you through a little bit of what our experience is going to be. We start the session, obviously, once we get through our opening prayers and all the magic that we kind of infuse into the experience. You're gonna start by learning the content, which is all about how to love your body, and I have this special session with Sonya that I'll tell you all about. And then at the Kingdom, we always do a practice. Because one of the things, like I grew up going to church, and one of the things I loved about church was all the inspiration that I got, but I remember always leaving and feeling like, well, what now? You know what I mean? Like, what do I actually do in my circumstance, in my experience now? And so we'll have a practice that then takes you to integration. And we have a challenge actually that we do every single session where you'll have a practical step to integrate these teachings into your life. We'll have time for questions, a golden nugget, and then obviously we're gonna sing a lot of songs together. So if that feels good to you all, then we're gonna jump in. All right? All right. So I wanna welcome somebody very special to the stage. For this moment, I would like to welcome Ezra Bookman to the stage. Ezra, come on up. And we need to give Ezra a microphone. Ezra's microphone, great. And so Ezra, everybody in the chat, welcome Ezra. So come close to me, Ezra. So everyone, this is Ezra. Say hi to Ezra, everybody. Hi. They're loving you in the chat. So I'm just gonna pull this over here for me. So Ezra is our executive producer of The Kingdom. This whole new version of The Kingdom has been Ezra's baby. He has made this so magical for all of us. Ezra has a company called Ritualist that helps you actually create rituals in your life and in the world. So all of his work, all of his research, all of his study is about the power of ritual. And that's how The Kingdom is up-leveled in these amazing ways. So I thought there was nobody better, because we had Ezra in town today. He normally lives on the East Coast, to talk about not what, but who is the Kingdom. And we don't say what because the Kingdom is a community, right? And so who is the Kingdom? And so we have our manifesto that was Ezra's idea to even create. And Ezra gets to read it to us today. Yay! So I'm gonna give you, go ahead, brother.
It's so fun to see this come off the page and get to share it with all of you, because we wrote it for and by and with you.
Yeah.
Especially for all the mothers tonight. The Kingdom Manifesto. Welcome to the Kingdom community, a place where we come together to grow, belong, and rise. It's a space where we celebrate our journeys and inspire each other to be the best versions of ourselves. We believe here that true growth is collaborative and that we reach our full potential when we help others thrive. We come to the kingdom to be inspired and energized, to feel supported and held, and to help others do the same. Our community, here and at home, is built on the power of connection, and we believe that everyone belongs here. We strive to create a safe and accepting space where we can reflect honestly, listen generously, open vulnerably, and love deeply. We rise together. We believe that there is something bigger than us and also something big within us. We believe that all of us have the power to transform our lives and change the world. We believe that music is medicine, singing is sacred, and dancing is how our bodies sing. We believe wisdom is everywhere, but especially in you, and 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 you. So today we invite you to join us. We believe in you. We believe in us. Everyone is welcome in the kingdom. Together, let's grow, let's go beyond, rise. We rise together.
Yes, it's so good to hear you read it. So this is what the kingdom's all about. Thank you, Ezra. This is what the kingdom's all about, everybody, and I think this is why you've all kept coming back and to actually put it into words and what this is. You know, my favorite line in this whole thing is, we believe there is something bigger than us, but also something big within us. And that's so powerful. And all we're doing here every time is to help you come back to and remember that there is something so fucking big within you and to help you wake it up, wake it up in your life in the most powerful of ways. And so welcome, everybody. I see you all resonating here. Hello, Kaylin. Hello, Renee, Tasia, Becky. Kate is here in the chat helping Kelly, everybody. So I just want to see for a second where you're all coming in from. I'm scrolling way back, way back, way back. Oh, goodness, y'all are busy in the chat today. London. Oh, gosh, I got to scroll too far, I think. Oh, Anchorage, Alaska, Ontario, Canada. Hello, Alicia and Kaylin. Seattle, Washington, Severe. We got another one from the UK, Diane. New York, Seattle, Kathy and Kelly. Oh, we got a lot of UK people in here. Jay, Colorado, Madison, Europe, Brazil, Eugene, Oregon. We're from all over the world here, y'all, at the kingdom. And we're spreading love out here far and wide, and we're so grateful to be here with you. So I have to give a really special thank you today. This new version of the kingdom is not like the old version. This new version is expensive. We're in person, we have a bet, like it's a thing. And so I want to give a really big thank you to a very special group of people here, our sponsor, Vital Body Therapeutics. And so the reason why I'm actually calling them out, and what was really important to me as we engage sponsors for the kingdom, because we need actually support to make this happen, is I didn't want something this intentional to start to feel like a commercial. You know what I mean? And so I actually personally reached out to Jen and the team at Vital Body Therapeutics. They are a woman-owned and created CBD body healing oil therapeutics company. They have the most incredible products, and the reason why I brought it, this is my Oprah moment, right? I brought it is because I've actually been using this for 3 years on my own. My mom uses it. It's the best, highest quality product that I've ever seen, and they really believe in. It's not just like, oh, buy some lotion. They're actually trying to bring healing to as many people as possible in the world. And so Vital Body Therapeutics, thank you for making this episode happen. We're so grateful to you, and I have a little special surprise for some of you later. And those of you who are watching online, for those of you who don't know, the thing on the right is a QR code, and you can scan the QR code or take a quick picture of it now. It'll come back later, and we have a special discount that they've given to every single person watching that you can access at any time. So, and for those of you in the room, I have something special for you later as well. Okay, you can get the discount. All right, so couple quick invitations before we begin our session. This is our whole schedule for the kingdom coming up this year. We've already done Finding Your Soulmate on April 2nd with Catherine Woodward Thomas. Remember, we're exploring love in all these different capacities. And so Finding Your Soulmate, if you missed it, you can watch it online. The whole recording is on our podcast. It's on YouTube. It was incredible. We're learning how to love our bodies today. In June, we're talking about grief. And how does that have to do with love? Well, you don't grieve something unless you loved it deeply. right? And so how do we learn to lean into grief instead of running away from it and let it transform us? We're talking about sexual intimacy and love. You don't talk about that in every church, do you? So we're talking about how to actually bring more love into our intimate relationships. And then in August, we talk about forgiveness. And in September, we have an incredible special guest that I can't wait to announce to you all. In September, talking about love as a political force. And that'll be our final session for this season, and then we'll see what's next. For those of you who want to continue to be more engaged in the kingdom, we have something called Soul Study. And today, we have Trey here. Get up here, Trey. This is Trey, everybody. Say hi to Trey. So Trey's here in person. Trey is our leader of Soul Study and has been leading Soul Study. So Soul Study, we have every Wednesday night on Zoom. And so the difference between Soul Study and the Kingdom is on, the Kingdom, you just have the chat and you're listening to me and the people here talk and you're taking in info. At Soul Study, it's on Zoom. It's not recorded. It's super private. And you get to deepen and connect with one another on there and kind of deepen these teachings and have accountability. Trey, is there anything you want to say? I'll just let you talk into here about Soul Study.
It is a sacred space, and you all co-created. So thank you to everybody who's attended Soul Studies thus far and made it a beautiful space. And we excited to bring in some new Soul Study buddies with us.
Yeah, Soul Study buddies. That's cool. So the QR code is there if you want to join. It's free. This is always all free to you. This is all free to you every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific. All right. So now we're ready to begin. Now that we've been through the announcements, I need somebody in the chat box to type in a word that you want us as a community here together to drop into. Pick one word that we're going to drop into. Let's see. Somebody type in the word. Joy. So we are going to drop into the experience of joy. We're going to set a timer now for 1 minute. Close your eyes. We'll take a little bit of silence and fill yourself up with joy. Here we go. God, Spirit, universe, all that is, all that ever has been, and all that ever will be, we thank you. You can place your hands over the center of your chest for our opening prayer if you'd like. Thank you by every name that you go by. May each of us here today receive exactly the message that we are meant to hear to help us transform our lives and also to bring these teachings and what we learn out into the world so that we can transform our communities, we can transform our families, our children, and spread this message of love, of loving this vessel, of loving our body into the world. May every person who's here be protected and feel loved in this community and container. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So it is. Ashe, Aho, Salam, Amen, Satnam, Awen, Om, Shalom. Thank you. Welcome to the kingdom, everybody. Let's begin. So today we're talking about how to love your body. And we have a quote that has given me shivers and chills up and down my spine every single time that I hear it as our quote of the month to start. And here's the quote. It says, "And I said to my body softly, I want to be your friend. It took a long breath and replied, I've been waiting my whole life for this." And this is by Nayira Wahid. And it's just a beautiful moment of just thinking how much time we spend, AKA our whole lives, in this thing, and how much time we spend battling it. Does anybody spend time battling your body? Whether it's from health or trying to force it to be or look or act a certain way. And here it is, just waiting for you the whole time. Just here with you the whole time. And so this is the frame for our context together today. And when we talk about how to love our bodies, how to deeply love our bodies, we're not meaning it in kind of the typical way that you hear about on social media and Instagram. Oh, let's go take a bath. You know, essential oils, all that stuff's great. I'm not knocking all this stuff, right? Go to the spa, all that stuff is great. But those are all actions that you take. What does it really mean to love yourself, your body from within? And this is a big deal for most of us. How many of you, just raise your hands and put some ones in the chat box, everybody, if this has been a journey that you've been on for some part of your life of learning to love your body? Here we go. So many of us, right? So just to know that you're not alone, and I see all the ones in the chat box, Maria and Kalani, Susan, Kaylin, like we are here. We're all on this journey, and I think what you're gonna learn today from Sonia is really important. So I wanna tell you a quick story. This is one that I've told in my book. I wrote about it in my book, but it's something that I actually don't talk about that much very often. So when I was in college, I actually had a pretty bad eating disorder. It's something that a lot of guys don't talk about, but it's very common among men. There's actually, what was crazy is I opened my Instagram this morning after I meditated, and what was the weirdest timing was there was these two men, like there are people who are kind of known as fit models, and they were having a conversation about body dysmorphia. Two guys. And it's crazy because like I've looked at these two guys, I follow them, I know them as like people who I thought, oh, your just body is so perfect. And they were talking on and on about what they've actually had to sacrifice to create the bodies that they had. And it was really powerful to hear two people discussing this. And so I want to just open up and tell a little bit about my own story as we get into this teaching. And why I brought a special guest, because I'm still on this journey myself, right? And so when I was in college, getting to UCLA, I went to UCLA, and I land in Los Angeles. And you're just surrounded by, I don't know, like what's considered by society some of the most beautiful people on the planet, what you're supposed to think is the most beautiful people on the planet. And I remember just seeing like all these people around me getting attention and getting opportunities and getting to go into places, getting to cut lines, getting to do this, not because they were nice people, but just because of how they looked. And I remember thinking, well, I don't look like that. I definitely don't look like that. And so I started to try to figure out what was wrong and started to try to control myself. And so it started with trying to work out, and that didn't work the right way. And then so I started starving myself. I went 9 days just eating ice and ended up throwing up and all these kinds of things. And it got so bad that I ended up collapsing at school and had to go to the doctor. And from that experience of going to the doctor, what's crazy about this is that is what led me to being here with you all today. Because that collapse sent me to the doctor. The doctor said, you need to go to a therapist. I had never been to a therapist. And the therapist had said to me, it looks like you've been trying to find your happiness outside of yourself. It's about time you try to find it within. And I never heard that before. So obviously that's like common language now, right? But this is before the iPhone even came out, right? So I never even heard this called happiness within what? Where, right? And so he led me and directed me to some books and to start meditating, which led me to my personal growth journey at 19 years old. And this has been the only thing I've ever done. This has been my only job. This is all I've ever done since college. And so it was because of that struggle that's actually led me to the life that I live today. And so the reason I share that is because your body struggle, or whatever struggles you're going through in your life right now, they don't have to define your demise. They can actually be the stepping stone to your greatness, especially when you show up to be real with them and love your own struggles and love yourself inside of those struggles. And so this experience is what led me here today. So I have a question for you all, okay? I want you to put your hands over your heart really quick, everybody. Close your eyes. And just take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And another deep, full breath in. I could feel we needed that. And a breath out. Just let it out with the sound. We'll do one more. Inhale. And with the sound, let it all out. And I want you to just think about, give yourself permission to do this right now. What are some of the negative things you say about your own body? Let it come up right now. Let the voices come up in your head. Maybe it's, I'm not good enough, I'm not skinny enough, I'm not tall enough, I'm not fit enough, or any other thing that comes up for you. What is it? And so what happens is this often gets stuck in the shadows. These things are things that we're embarrassed to even say out loud because you realize when you say them out loud how harmful they are. But what we're going to do is we're going to break that cycle because a part of the healing is getting it out, is just getting it out into the room. And so I want everybody to open your eyes, turn to someone next to you, and just say some of your things. And if you're online, I want you to type into the chat some of the things that you say about your own body. Go ahead, let's do it now. Go ahead. What do you say about your body? Take another couple moments. So getting it out, that's the first step of healing. It's the first step of the healing is actually getting it out. I would spend another 5 seconds. So we see here some of you in the chat. Twilla says, I'm getting old and weak. Tammy says, flabby and saggy. Erica says, fat, ugly, and old. Kalani says, oh my God, how did that happen? How did that happen? I'm not doing enough. You should lose this fat. I hate my body. I'm not pretty enough. I have wrinkles. I can't eat the way everyone else does. Do you hear this, right? All right, everybody's attention. So we're getting this in the chat, we're getting this in the room, but do you all hear the energy of this, of what this does? Like when you hear it, we would never, hopefully, say that to another person. Imagine, if you could just imagine a little kid or somebody you love in front of you right now. Can you imagine saying one of these things to them? But never, right? And so when we have these things, Jay, I'm not ripped. When did my arms get so jiggly? Kate, I'm too fat. I'm getting old and I don't like it. I'm weak, I'm fat, and I'm in pain, Kalani. My skin is terrible. I sit too much, I feel ugly. I mean, do you feel this? So we all have this. We all do this. And so what I want to do right now, and I'll actually say this, the reason why we're starting here is people think that loving your body is about adding something to your life. It's more about getting clear about the shadow work and taking away and breaking some of these things that we have on top. And we're going to dig into this a little more deeply. But we have a song that I would like to offer to you all that is really important. Everybody say hi to Tasha. Tasha's here helping. So this song is one that I wrote specifically about this. I wrote this, eight years ago or so, as I was dealing with my own struggles with my body. And you'll see the words and the lyrics, and if you resonate, sing along. And this song is really about how amazing it could be if we could only look in the mirror and see how beautiful and powerful we really are. This is Broken Mirrors. The mirrors are broken, broken inside. The mirrors are broken, the truth is a lie. Mirror, mirror on the wall, I can't see myself no more. Can you filter, retouch me? I don't want to see these flaws.
I wanted you to be the one to rescue me from me, the slave, the master. Mirror, mirror, about to fall. No one's playing fair at all. The mirrors are broken. They're broken inside. Broken inside. The mirrors are broken. The truth is a lie. Truth is a lie. The mirrors are broken. They're broken inside. Broken inside. The mirrors are broken. And I can't hide, I can't hide, I can't hide, I can't hide. Mirror, mirror, won't you see digital perfection in me? My body is a prisoner, murder in the 3rd degree. It's such a crime to be the saint, the sinner in me. I see a war with no winner. Mirror, mirror, about to fall. I'ma take you off the wall. Here we go. The mirrors are broken. Broken inside. Broken inside. The mirrors are broken. The truth is a lie. Truth is a lie. The mirrors are broken. They're broken inside. Broken inside. The mirrors are broken. And I can't hide, 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 I can't hide. So just feel that in your heart. Thank you. So just close your eyes for a moment and feel all those things that you say to yourselves and all the brokenness that happens when we treat ourselves in this way. And we just honor those voices because they did come forward at a certain point to protect us. They came to protect us from judgment. They came to protect us from pain. They came to protect us from a relationship. They came to protect us from some kind of sorrow or harm that might have come to us that we were afraid of. But we don't have to hold on to those voices anymore. We actually get to let them go. We get to let them go and welcome a new voice. And so, thank you, band and choir. Y'all have been so amazing. This amazing band and our choir, our singers. And I really am so excited to introduce our special guest today, Sonya Renee Taylor. And so I did this interview with Sonya this week. I got to talk to her this week. She lives on the East Coast. And I was literally writing to her. We were writing to her for months, literally for months, like trying to get her. And she responded like the last Monday and was like, I would love to talk to you. I said, can you talk tomorrow? So we can get this. So we were able to get this right at the last second, and it's so special. I want to share with you that I've pulled the highlights from this experience with Sonya for all of us today. But the entire interview, it was so powerful that we did with Sonya, which is longer than we're able to do in the Kingdom. The whole thing is going to be up on our YouTube channel, and you're welcome to see it there. And Sonya Renee Taylor is a world-renowned activist, an award-winning author. She's the author of 6 books. Okay, 6 books, including the New York Times best-selling The Body Is Not an Apology. Her work has now reached millions of people with her radical self-love framework, and I got to sit down with her this week to have a really good conversation. And so we'll start out with Sonya giving us a little hello to the Kingdom community.
Hey, Kingdom family.
Yeah, hey, Sonya. So Sonya, we're gonna make it feel like she's in the room today. And Sonya has this amazing metaphor that when I first heard it from her in her work, I fell in love with it. So I want you all to listen very carefully.
I like to always just be like, it's not my metaphor, y'all. I didn't make it up. It's Marianne Williams. Williams.
Yeah, and we love Marianne's been here with us too, so we love her
Marianne.
here.
So
We
yeah,
love
I
her.
never want to pretend like it was mine. But I thought that when I heard her say it, and she wasn't talking about the body, but when she said it, for me, it encapsulated what it is that I believe when I'm talking about this idea of radical self-love is, she describes in it, she says that, an acorn doesn't have to try to become an oak tree. It doesn't have to effort towards becoming an oak tree. Everything that it needs in order to grow into the highest expression of itself is already encoded inside of it. And so the question then becomes, well, is the acorn in the right conditions such that that which is inside of it can be activated such that it can be its highest expression of itself? And for me, that is what radical self-love is, which is that we are imbued with everything that it is we need to manifest the highest expressions of ourselves, that we arrived here as fully embodied vessels of love. Like that's how we showed up to the planet. And the only way in which we could be disconnected from that is such that something about the conditions has made it such that that fullest expression of ourselves, we don't feel it. We can't tap into it, right? And so that made me say, well, then it must not be us. It must not be the vessel that's the problem. It must be the conditions that's the problem. And if it's the conditions that's the problem, then we start talking about what those conditions are so that we can separate the idea that there's something wrong with us and put the onus on the things that need to be changed back to where they belong, which are the conditions that are hampering our ability to become the fullest expressions of ourselves.
See, I have little goosebumps. You probably can't see them because I got the little skin smoother on, but got little goosebumps because this is so big, because we hear about this concept of loving your body, of like this thing that we have to try to do, this thing that we have to try to build or become. And you're saying that's not the case. So can you just give me a distinction? We're going to get into these conditions, a distinction between like this kind of self-love, love your body movement and what you're calling radical self-love.
Yeah, so I think, like people, when I started doing this work 13 years ago, it was me and like one other hit on the internet about radical self. And so I was always clear what I was talking about. I was talking about how is it that we become aware of and connect to a way of being in ourselves that, one, I literally use the definitions of the word radical, that is the origin of a thing, right? So I'm proposing that this sense of love that I'm talking about is the origin of us. It's how we started, that it's inherent. Again, we don't have to figure out how to get it. It's already there. Radical as in thoroughgoing or extreme. I'm talking about a big, wild, unruly, undisciplined, undefiant love, and unapologetic love, right? The kind of love that needs to be thoroughgoing and extreme because we live in thoroughgoing and extreme circumstances that tell us we should not love ourselves. We live in thoroughgoing and extreme circumstances that target our bodies as deficient, as dangerous, as something aberrant, right? And so we need something that counters that. But I'm talking radical as in proposing drastic political, economic, and social transformation. That's the other definition of radical. That, and to me, is one of the most important ones because it gets to, there are conditions that are hampering that acorn, and those conditions need to be changed. And so when I hear other people talking about self-love or talking about body positivity and these sort of other words that folks use, first and foremost, I think the most significant difference to me is that they're talking about a thing that is highly individualistic and highly apolitical, right? It's like, it's how I feel about myself, right? And I'm like, how you feel about yourself doesn't exist in a vacuum. It is not some solitary experience that you're just having. That how you feel about yourself is shaped by a social world and shaped by a cultural world and a familial world and a political world and an economic world. And how you feel about yourself is also shaped and informed about how you feel about other people's bodies. And I'm interested in a conversation that holds all those pieces such that we might get to the truth of our actual relationship, which again, I believe is love. But we can't get there if we're going to sit it on top of foundation of the same illusions that built the world that we need to dismantle anyway. And so I'm talking about something that is transformative, and I'm talking about something that isn't just about the body. The body is a manifestation of something far deeper, far more profound, something far more intangible than these, my ex used to call them fleshy thought tubes. Like, you're onto something. Just something far more profound than these fleshy thought tubes could actually encapsulate, right, in its fullness. And so the body is part of an entire system that I believe is simply trying to reconcile us to love, right?
Yeah.
And the body is the vessel by which we get to take the journey to reconciling to love.
See, so this was like the main thing that really shifted things for me in reading your work is understanding. So I'm just guiding people through this again, like in the way that I got this in my body was I am the acorn and I don't need any instruction to become the oak tree. I don't need to add anything. I don't need to learn anything. This is inherent in me. And so radical self-love for me, for my body, for me to become the highest expression of myself is natural. What is not natural is all the shit, is all the conditions, is all the things from society, from our trauma, from our programming, from politics, from everything that we then put those glasses on and start seeing the world through those glasses, not nice glasses like you got on right now, some other kind of glasses, right?
Some other kind of glasses.
So this is the piece. When we talk about those conditions, in a lot of your work, I hear you talking about this imagination that we are imagining through. That's not really our own imagination, or these thoughts that we're having that we think are our thoughts, but they're not actually our thoughts. And so can you help me understand that? Because once I got that, I was like, oh my gosh, all these thoughts that I teach meditation. I know I'm not my thoughts, but somehow I thought those thoughts were my thoughts.
Right. You're like, I'm not my thoughts, but those thoughts are mine, right?
Right.
And it's actually not only are you not your thoughts, but those thoughts aren't yours, right? That we are, and I think this is the thing that's really difficult for people because so much of our striving, so much of our struggling is about having a sense of control. And so the idea that like our thoughts aren't our own is like a level of we're not in control that I think is really unnerving for folks. But I also think is profoundly liberatory once we actually let it settle in us.
For people who are hearing this for the first time, your thoughts are not your own. I think people hear you are not your thoughts in a meditative context.
Yeah.
Like your thoughts are not your own. Whose are they? Where are they coming from, Sonia?
We're Swiffer sweepers. We run a Swiffer sweeper across the floor. It's going to pick up what's on the floor. Like we are, if we want to be in a sort of more metaphysical conversation about it, all of us are simply inside of, what we call the collective unconscious, right? Or the collective consciousness that we move through unconsciously, right? We are all inside of these ideas and these beliefs and these narratives, and we didn't create them. No one ever woke up one day and was like, thinness is the best. I created that thought, right? Like I created that thought and that's why I moved that way. That's not how that thought came into being. We know that's not how that thought came into being because you got it from someplace. And part of the problem is that we don't interrogate where the message came from. We think the thought and we just stop there, right? And part of the invitation, I think, of the work around radical self-love is, can I get curious about where the thought came from? Because when we follow the thread back, we realize that thought is tied into systems, most often systems related to power and money.
Yes.
Systems related to capitalism, systems related to patriarchy, systems related to how domination moves in our societies. That's generally where these thoughts that put us in an adversarial relationship with our bodies, they start there. And so if you can get like to the point, and this is the distinction that I think helps people sometimes is from a radical self-love standpoint, any thought that tells me that I am somehow unworthy, unlovable, not enough can't be my original thought. Because
Right.
it's the antithesis. It would be like an acorn being like, nope, I'm supposed to be a dogwood tree.
Right.
Can't be original because everything that's encoded inside of an acorn is to become an oak tree.
Right.
So if everything in me is encoded to be a manifestation of love, then all thoughts that are the contrary of that can't be from me.
Right. And like the reason that has to be true is because the same intelligence, God being universe spirit,
That made the acorn
made you.
us.
Yes.
Made us.
Let's take a moment and take that in. Right? So just feel a couple of the takeaways. So take a second right now and close your eyes. Put your hands over your heart. And just think about what your own takeaway from that moment with Sonia is. We have some more time coming with her, but what your own takeaway is from that. What did you get? What did you take? All right, open your eyes. Anybody want to shout anything out into the room? And obviously type them in the chat. What'd you get? We like acorns. We like acorns, Trey says. What do you got, Elizabeth? You need to ground into love. Anyone else? It's already encoded. You are where you're supposed to be, where you already are. And this was when I got that, I said, oh, the reason I'm trying to turn into something else is because I'm an acorn trying to become a jasmine plant. But if I'm actually just on my own purpose, exactly what I have. Like, why would God, the universe, put you here to be something and not give you what you needed to be it? Right? And so when we're trying to be something else, that's all these other thoughts, this is society, this is all the things that are coming in. And so what I want to take a moment to do here is we're going to just keep going back into the little practices to make this land in your own life. And I love here what everybody's typing in the chat. They said, Suzette says, it's someone else's voice that hates me, not mine. Evie, my thoughts are not my own. I've picked them up from my surroundings. Kelly says, the thoughts we have about our bodies are the internalization of oppressive systems that we live in. There we go. The Swiffer sweeper, I love that. She's like, we're Swiffer sweepers, picking it all up, right? And so what I want to, my mom's in here. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. Yes. Hey, Mom. My mom's on here. She's so sad not to be here in person with us. But she was partying with Michael Franti yesterday at his concert, so she's tired. So what I want to get to actually is this. We're going to keep diving into the practices. Go ahead and close your eyes for this will be a quick moment. Take a breath in and a breath out. And bring back into your mind some of the thoughts that you started with today that you say to yourself. Just bring them back up now. They're probably going to feel a little different after what you just heard, but just think them. Bring back into your mind some of the thoughts that are negative self-talk that you say about yourself. Say them clearly. And now ask yourself, where might this thought come from? Who might this thought come from? And even if it's somebody in your family or in your life that put this thought in your life, then ask what system created this thought for them? What system might have created this thought for them and for you? We can go back to slavery. We can go back to all kinds of things in the world around the origination of these thoughts of domination over our bodies. Go ahead and take a breath in and a breath out, and I want you all to type in the chat box where some of these things came from, and anybody shout out into the room. Victoria's Secret sold a lot of money on a certain body type, especially back then, right? Who else? Parents' expectations. And where do you think your parents got those expectations from? From their parents. From society and community and their parents. Anyone else? Your grandmother. And where do you imagine your grandmother maybe got that from her? Something in her world, right? Yeah, I mean, when we think back to women's rights over history, I know we still have a long way to go, right? If we think back to grandparents, we can imagine how our grandmothers, how women in the past had gotten certain thoughts ingrained into their minds and how those get passed down to us. Anybody in the band have anything you want to share? Colorism. Ami says colorism. Yeah. What was this? White supremacy. And yeah, where does that come from? From white supremacy, right? So all these things about our bodies. So all these people, all these companies, all these organizations, society, trying to condition us with these things. And Sonia has something to say about this. And those of you online, I want you to, as you're listening, and you hear something that Sonia says that makes you want to that you want to remember, makes you want to say amen, you put your ones in the chat and also type in those quotes because it will help other people remember them. Here's a word from Sonia.
Those things that they've attached it to, desirable, more beautiful, people will want me. What does that all mean at the end? Like when you distill that down to its simplest form, it means, oh, I'm lovable.
Yeah.
All of that is trying to get you to figure out how to externalize a thing that is internal.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, that will make me lovable. Except what I'm proposing to you is that you are inherently lovable, that love is the condition of your entire nature, which means you can't be separated from it. So as soon as someone's trying to sell you a way to get it, you know they're lying.
As soon as someone is trying to sell you a way to get it, you know they're lying because the love was already there.
It's already there.
Yeah.
You can't sell me something I already have. Why would I need it?
Right. And you actually, and of all the things in the world to try to buy, that's the one we know you can't buy. How many things have we bought that thought it was going to give us something internal, make us love something, and it doesn't work, right?
And still buying more things, still trying to figure it out through that method, which is why I say there's something wrong with that method. And what does it look like if we interrupt that story, that the thing we're searching for can be found outside of us, and actually return to what is the truth in me that I'm seeking to excavate, and what are the things that have built up around it that make it difficult to get to?
Yes. I'm back here going, yes. Right? So what are your takeaways from this? Type them in the chat, everybody. You know, how many of you felt resonant with that? I love how you gonna try to sell me something I already got? That's how you know it's a lie. Because they're trying to lie to you that you don't have it, right? And so this is really powerful to see the systems that we're buying into, that we give our power to say, okay, make me love myself. Help me love myself. And you know, it's really interesting. I had something happen recently. So I'll just ask this. Anybody gain any weight in the pandemic? Okay, me too, right? And so I've been on this journey of self-love for my body. And what was really interesting is I went through my bulimia, anorexia, this whole thing when I was younger. And then I got into this feeling of like, I love my body. I'm taking care of my body. I'm this, I'm that. And so for most of my 20s, I was pretty snatched, right? Like because I was taking such good care of myself. So it was really easy to love my body. Like I looked in the mirror, I was like, you're doing pretty good. Easy. Pandemic comes, right? We in a house. And next thing you know, I'll never forget this moment. I don't know if this happened to anybody. You know, I lived for many months in sweats. And then I remember I had to go to something in like November, and I put on jeans, and I went, oh, I must have washed these right before they came on, because these are really tight. These don't fit. And then I tried another one. I told one of my friends, I was like, all my jeans are tight. She's like, maybe you gained weight. No, right? And I realized, oh my God, I gained weight. And it didn't even cross my mind because I was just sitting there not seeing anybody. So it didn't matter, you know? And so what happened is, not too long ago, recently actually, I got invited as summer started coming up to go to the beach. And I had a bunch of my LA gay boys. We're gonna go to the beach, it's summer. And I remember standing there in the mirror and I went, I don't know if I should go. And that's when I realized, I was like, there it is again. It's back, right? And so what I got to do in that moment was love it, say, okay, I see that you're here, and what's wrong? And if we go based upon what Sonya's teaching us, what is it that you're really wanting? You're wanting to go to this and make sure you're loved, right? And that you're not ridiculed, you don't feel less than. And this thing that Sonya, if we get real about it, I wanted to make sure that when I show up at the beach with all these guys, that I feel like I'm powerful, right? So to get real, the shadow of what's real about it. Because I didn't really have an issue until I had to go to the beach. And so this showed me this mirage that sometimes goes over our eyes. And the question that I had so deeply for Sonya is this: we do this work, right? We do this, we understand, we listen to this, we stand in the mirror and we love our bodies. And then we step out into the world that doesn't have these same systems. So we step out, we have a lot of performers here, right? Musicians. We step out on a stage where people are looking at you this way. We step out into certain communities where people are actually judging you based upon those glasses. So how do we hold the integrity of these practices, of this lesson, if the people around us at times, or the communities that we're in, don't subscribe to the same thing? And so I want to just see, many of you here said the same thing. Oh, I got ones galore here about the pandemic, okay? And the takeaways here are so big. Oh my gosh. I'm just going to get to Sonya because she has a really great takeaway about this specific topic of how we stay engaged in this work when we're living in a world that doesn't have all these same lessons. How do we stay with it when you step back into a world that doesn't have these tools? Like, what is that? You know?
Right. And so, I mean, one of the things that I say in my work, in the workbook, Your Body's Not in a Public View workbook, in there I give practices, 10 tools to radical self-love. Here are the things we need to practice. And I tell people all the time, tools 9 and 10 are the most important. And if you don't do them, it's going to be a rough journey forever. And tool number 9 is you have to be in community. If, again, the story of individualism, part of that story of external, right? Is the external world is going to give you something, right? I can figure it all by myself, right? Like that's capitalism is like, nope, I did it all by myself and you reward me all by myself, right? Yeah. And then when I feel terrible, it's all by myself and it's all my fault, right? Like all of it just takes you back to this I story. And what I offer is that it is impossible in a world of constant, like a constant barrage of messages of not enoughness, a constant barrage of messages of you're deficient in this way or that way, or you're just not going to ever be good enough. It's impossible against those odds to try to do this work by yourself. And part of the reason it's impossible is because the work isn't supposed to be by yourself. We are inherently interdependent beings. And so you have to build a community of people who are moving like you're moving. Part of it, I became vegan a year ago, and it talk about like, oh, I'm around people who live in real different than I.
Yeah.
My family's like, I'm sorry, you're a vegan. Please pass the chicken wings. And right. This is at every food function, right? They like, oh, there's a salad bag in the fridge, Sonya, have at it, right? And right. So, and it's in those moments where I'm like, oh, Jesus, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. And what I realize is, right, if I haven't built a community around myself that affirms the way it is that I'm moving now, then I will absolutely be pulled into the undertow of a former way of thinking, right? And so I have to surround myself with people and things and activities and ideas that remind me. One of the things that is helpful for me is like I have a check-in before I do a thing that I know is going to put me in a world that is, counter to the way I'm trying to move now. I have a check-in with someone who is in my community of practice now, before and after. I book in those things, right? So that I'm not going to dive in with no life raft, with no touchstone to what it is that actually supports me. And so I think that's just one small way to do it, one small practice.
If I can just jump in, it's just like, first of all, we know this, and I don't know why I've never thought about it until I read your book. in terms of body, because we are sold this lie that we're just supposed to love ourselves by ourselves and figure it out by ourselves. But we know in any other way, like anyone who's tried to, and everyone here has done it, tried to elevate their vibration or increase their spiritual, you've had to let some people go and
People
get
gotta go.
Of course.
Gotta change.
You can't
That is
elevate your vibe with
absolutely
a
the
bunch
same.
of toxic people around you. So why would you be able to love your body or have radical self-love in this new way, surrounded by a bunch of people who don't
Or not,
understand?
I'm not in
Okay.
alignment with that, who don't understand that. Exactly.
So what's the second? What's the second? You said 9 and 10 are the two ones that we
9
gotta
and
do.
10.
Yeah.
And 10 is give yourself some grace. There is another one of the aspects, right? Toxic aspects of the culture that we have been indoctrinated into. One is individualism, and the second is perfectionism, right? And then we've taken that idea of perfectionism and even placed it inside of the realm of self-love. Oh my gosh, I have to do this perfectly. I have to figure out how to, like one of my workshop participants once called it meta shame. It's like, oh, now I have shame for having body shame.
Right. Right.
Like that's such an unsustainable way to exist in the world. And what I offer inside of this idea of give yourself some grace is, again, we are inside of a world with a very specific indoctrination that it is trying and constantly reifying in us. It is impossible to walk through every single day feeling like, some radiant beam of radical self-love. That's an unrealistic expectation. And I practice for myself, like I said, I have 13 years spending nothing but time working on this idea of radical self-love. And there are days that I don't feel very loving toward my body. And on those days, I practice, and I love the Sonia that doesn't love her body until Sonia loves her body again. I love you, Sonia, who thinks you're not enough today. I love you, Sonia, who is displeased with your cellulite. I love you, imperfect Sonia, because the more that I can practice loving the Sonia on her journey, as opposed to the Sonia who's arrived at a destination, the more I am able to sustain my connection to that love over time, no matter the conditions.
This is really important because as we're on our paths to spiritual growth, I feel like so many of us, we feel like we've done all this work on ourselves, and then we shame ourselves when we feel like we've quote unquote taken a step back.
Yes. Exactly.
We learn so much in that piece, right? Of how to love ourselves through every phase of the journey. I want to ask you another question, Sonia. I will tell you, the part of this that felt like it really got me in your work, in listening to you talk about this work that I really had to own. And this, what you're doing, because this part of this is my whole, is some big shadow work. This is what we're doing here is shadow work. And I love some shadow work here. We do it here. And so the piece of it that was so big for me is understanding that a big part of the reason of why I sometimes don't want to put down the old story, the old imagination, is because I lose something when I do.
Absolutely.
And I want you to speak about this because when you talked about this, I said, oh goodness, this is really what it is. This is really why I keep working my body out in a way that is causing me pain, why I keep doing X, Y, Z. So can you speak about what we lose when we go on this journey and what we gain?
Absolutely, yes. Well, we're going to lose what the external world promised us. Now, the truth of the matter is we weren't never going to have it to begin with.
Yes.
And I think that's the part that we actually have to grapple with, right? But we lose the illusion that one day we will finally attain the thing, right? Whether that's enough wealth to feel worthy or enough desirability to feel worthy or enough connections and popularity to whatever that is that we think is going to finally make us enough, we're going to lose that. And we're going to lose the capital that this world tosses at us as carrots that keep us on the hamster wheel. Right? Like because life does reward you for trying to play the game, right? Like you will ascend to certain levels and you will get certain trappings. Those things will happen. But what you'll always notice is inside you'll still feel completely and totally empty. You'll still feel utterly disconnected from any sense of truth or self. I say all the time, we know this to be true because Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos are still trying to make more money.
Right.
They done made as much money as they could spend, all their grandkids and their great-great-grandkids, for eons and eons. And they still want more, because there's never going to be enough to fill that hole. And so, yes, you got to give up the illusion that one day that thing outside you is going to fill the hole.
Yeah.
You have to relinquish that. And you'll have to relinquish the petty pieces of power and domination that you are given in exchange for continuing to trade your humanity for that illusion.
Woo! And this is when I really had to own this. It said, okay, Justin, if you stop putting your body through this and you stop looking the way that the system has told you that you should look to be whatever, you might lose some power. You might lose walking into a room and getting benefits just because you look a certain way. And people don't want to talk about this. You might lose being in a space and being one of the more attractive or skinny or whatever people in the space, and then you lose the automatic attention that makes you feel loved. But guess what? Inside of all those spaces, this is where people have to get real with what you just said. When I go in those spaces, and even if I do feel that attention and power and love, I still feel empty inside.
You still feel empty.
It's never enough.
It's never enough. And not only is it not, this is the thing I want people to pair together, right? If you need an internal marker, it's you still feel empty. If you need an external marker, power at whose expense, right? And so you're inside of a system that's like, not only do you get to keep harming yourself and depleting yourself, you also get to keep harming and depleting other people.
Yes.
That's the loop that is asking us to stay in. And when we step off of that, yes, we lose power inside of that system. I want to go back to what you said before about that system is a certain set of imaginations. Yes, you will lose power inside of the imagination of white supremacist, capitalist, hetero, ableist, fat-phobic patriarchy. Yep, you certainly will. Guess what? That system is diabolical, deadly, violent, and the scourge of all the things it is that we are navigating in the world right now. And so, yes, I don't want to live in that imagination. And the truth of the matter is, every time I have relinquished power in that space, I have gained power in my own beingness, and it creates a whole new possible world. I live differently today because I move differently outside of that system. And there's nothing that that system offered me that I don't have access to in a way that allows me to still have my humanity intact through authentic, real connections with people who actually value and love me, and the ability to create the kind of world I desire all of us to live in, not just my opportunity to cash into the old one.
And that is the freedom. That is freedom. That's
freedom. That's freedom.
Yes, instead of thinking, I'm going to have freedom once I look like this, once I'm like this, and then you get a little bite of it, and that's what the system does. Ooh, look, you got some attention. Gone. More.
No, now you're in jail. Now you're in jail to that thing. Now you are incarcerated by that thing. Freedom is the ability to be 100% in integrity with yourself. That is freedom.
Sonia, thank you. I mean, this is so powerful because what we know often is when we're faced with fear, it's because we're expanding beyond our comfort zone. And in this space, that's exactly where we want to get, is into a new space beyond our comfort zone.
Absolutely.
Y'all. So the whole interview with Sonia, there's more, is on YouTube, is on our YouTube channel, and you'll be able to access that. And I want to just drop into a few things here, okay? Because we just took a lot in. It's funny, I was sitting here having all the same responses in person, you know? And I want us to do a practice now, a practice to actually see how we can implement this into our lives. Does that feel good to you all? And I just want you to know, all in the chat, y'all, they have been going off in the chat. Y'all ain't playing in this chat. I've been sitting here reading the chat the whole time that we were watching the interview, and Sonia's talking, and Amanda typed in, everybody's typing this in, Amanda Kalani, freedom is being in integrity, 100% in integrity with yourself, right? With yourself. And Kalani says, every time I relinquish power in that space, I gain power in here. right? And many of you in the chat, Suzette and some of you, they were talking about, they really keyed on to this piece of like, you get what feels like power in that space for a moment, and then you have to keep working for it. It's not like it's authentic, right? So you get surrounded by people who love you because of the power you have in the system, not because they actually love you, right? And with those of us who live in LA know, right? We're shaking our, right? This system quite well, but all the way in the world. And so when we get to access a different imagination, when we get to step into a new space, we get access to this power. And I'm gonna do a practice with you that's inspired by Sonia's work in her book called Finding a Mantra to Love Your Body. And I wanna talk to you before we do this about the practice a little bit and what a mantra is and how it all works. So a mantra, the word mantra, we use this all the time. A lot of people think it's an affirmation or this thing, that's not what a mantra is. A mantra, the definition of the Sanskrit word mantra, is a tool of the mind, a tool of thoughts. And so in the same way that if you were gonna hang up a picture frame and put a nail in the wall, you need a hammer, a certain kind of tool. Or if you were gonna put IKEA furniture together, you need one of them little funny IKEA screwdriver things. You use particular mantras to handle certain things in your life. And different mantras are there for different purposes or different reasons. And what they have the power to do, and this is studied again and again, is it rewires the neural pathways in your mind. And it's not always, not just sitting there and saying it a couple times, but when you do it in your life, in real life, in the moment, it helps rewrite and reroute some of these pathways. And so I'm gonna give you a couple invitations before we do this practice, okay, everybody? So the first one is, this mantra that you create should be big. What I mean by that is that it should make you a little uncomfortable. I want it to feel so loving that you almost feel like, how dare I say such an audacious thing to myself? Well, I don't know, that doesn't feel realistic. That's how big I want it to be. Because what happens is sometimes when we have a big enough mantra, first of all, I'll say this, if the mantra feels comfortable to you, it's not expanding you out of your comfort zone. So there's that. Right? So you shouldn't feel like, oh yes, that's exactly it. You feel like, I don't know about this one. And if you're there, that's how you know you're getting close to being on the right track, or it could be a mix of the two. And what it might do is make your shame voice louder at first. No, I'm not really like that. I don't know if that is really true. But what happens over time, after it triggers the neural pathways of shame that have been well worn and have these well grooves, is it starts to disrupt it. And once it starts to disrupt it, new pathways start to form, and this is how we expand it to a new growth edge. Does this make sense to everybody? Yes, okay, I see it. People are already asking, where is it on YouTube? It will be on YouTube very soon, friends. Stay here in the moment. I love you all. It'll be on YouTube very soon, all right? So you just search for Justin Michael Williams and Sonia Renee Taylor, and you'll find the whole interview. All right, very soon. So what I want to get to as we do this practice is something that allows you to discover and find a mantra in yourself, okay? So go ahead and close your eyes if you're comfortable. Take a deep, full breath in and a deep breath out. And with me to the count of 3, inhale for 1, 2, 3. Hold for 1, 2, 3. Exhale 1, 2, 3. Again, inhale 1, 2, 3. Hold for 1, 2, 3. Exhale 1, 2, 3. Last time, a little deeper this time. Inhale 1, deeper. 2, 3. Hold for 1, 2. Hold it a little longer. Sip in a little more air if you can, really all the way up to your collarbone and throat. And open the mouth, let it go. And I want you now to imagine an older, wiser version of yourself. At any age, a version of yourself that can look back upon you with wisdom. And as you imagine this older, wiser version of yourself, notice where they are. Are they inside? Are they sitting down? Are they standing up? Are they outdoors somewhere? Notice what they're wearing. And notice how their energy feels as you look at this older, wiser version of you. And now ask this older, wiser version of you a question. You can ask them anything about your life right now and just see what they have to say to start. What advice they would give you at this time. And if that older, wiser version of you gave you a message about your body, if they could give you one piece of advice or wisdom or guidance on how to love your body, what would they say to you? What would they say to you that would help you love yourself more as you are right now? And then finally, ask this older, wiser version of you to just distill it down to one sentence or one phrase that you can keep with you in your pocket anytime you need it. Anytime you need support or guidance, or you feel like you're not loving your body, what is this one phrase that the older, wiser version of you is giving you as a reminder? And now just repeat that phrase in your mind a few times, just a few times so you remember it. And then go ahead and take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And then slowly open your eyes and just say your phrase to yourself a couple times. And now we'll do just like we did in the beginning. If you're in the room, turn to somebody and share your phrase with them. This is how we get it out. And if you're in the chat, I want you to type in your words in the chat and make sure you write it down for yourself. You can take out your phone if you need to and write down your phrase so you don't forget. Go ahead and share for a couple moments just right now. And I'm going to read what y'all have coming up in the chat. I love you all. So as you all are sharing in the room, what phrase did your older, wiser self have? All right, here's some messages coming in. Kalani says, love your body now, dance every day. Dance every day. You are always already 100% deserving, Kaylin. What other messages came in from this older, wiser self? My body is here to experience life. I have unconditional love. Love yourself and your body as you are, Grace. You are special. Your body is capable of wonderful things, Amanda. Listen to your body. It's Spirit's way of communicating with you, Kathy. Daphne, my body is a goddess temple. Okay. Come on, Daphne. Monica, my body is divine as it is. Hillary, I am not, I think I read this one wrong. Kelly, your worth is not tied to external thing. Amanda, your body is amazing. All right, can anybody shout any out in the room for us here in person? Can I see the microphone? Where is it at? Hold on. We're gonna let y'all speak up. I got it. Help me here. All right, come here, Trey. Come here, Trey. All right, everybody say hi to Trey again. What is yours? What's your message, Trey?
Mine was, you are divinely crafted, so fuel it with life.
You are divinely crafted, so fuel it with life. Amen. Who else want to share? Anybody want to share one? Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Yes, brother. Share with everybody.
I said to choose to trust yourself, and you have all the love you'll ever need inside of you.
Ooh, thank you, brother. Choose to trust yourself, and you have all the love you ever need inside. I feel one more in the room. Yes, here. It's Harriet's birthday, everybody. This is Trey's mom. Everybody say happy birthday to Harriet. Okay, what you got?
New beginnings. At 66, I'm wearing it with a badge.
Yes. We got one more. Who is it? Elizabeth. Come on up, come on up, come on up.
All right. Mine was make peace with your body. It is your biggest gift from God in this lifetime.
Yes. And Elizabeth just got off an airplane, flew all the way here, and came to the kingdom. We're so grateful. So, I see my mom's here. My mom says, my body loves me. I love it. Loves you, Mom. I love you, Mom. Everybody, I hope you can feel me here in the chat, because we're really feeling you all here in the room, and it's so special to have you all here. So, I want to introduce you to the Kingdom Challenge. And the Kingdom Challenge is something that we do at every kingdom now, and it's something that we get to engage with for the month that helps us actually put this practice now into action. It's like, okay, you got a mantra, but what the hell you do with it, right? And so now we're going to give you an action that we're all going to do. We're all going to do this for a month and see what happens on the other side of it. And you can come to Soul Study on Wednesday if you need accountability, if you need guidance, if you need anything, actually, you can come to Soul Study and we'll be there with you. And so this is the simple action. We make it very simple for you, and this is actually proven scientifically to work. Here is your invitation. As often as you can, I'd like it to be every day. When you wake up in the morning, write down your affirmation, your mantra. Just write it down. You could write it on your phone, in the notes on your phone. You could put it as a sticky note on your mirror. You could write it with lipstick on the mirror every morning if you want. You could take out a piece of paper and just remember, like when we were in, I don't know, for me, if you went to detention in elementary school, you had to write lines. So this is a different way of writing lines. Like you can have one piece of paper and every day add a line, right? And you'll have 30 lines at the end of it, at the end of the day. And so that's the first part. That's just to get it in your system. Now, the way that actually reroutes and rewires the neural pathways in your body is what you have to start to remember, and writing it down in the morning will help, is when you catch yourself, and you're gonna catch it now that you've had this session with Sonia, when you catch yourself going into the old story, when you catch yourself walking past the mirror and going, huh? When you catch yourself in whatever position that you're in, you're gonna go, sorry, that's not true, and you're gonna say your phrase. In your mind, you could say it out loud if you want, if you like to talk to yourself like I do, but you're gonna say it out loud. And if you're in a moment where you feel that shame, or if you're going somewhere and you feel it, you're just gonna pause and go, sorry, that's not true. I trust myself. I fill my body with life. And you keep moving. And you will see in 30 days the magic that will happen. Can we promise to doing this? Can we give it a try? All right, and then we'll report back. I'll be doing it on social media for this whole month on my Instagram page, We Just Will, and you'll see me just kind of sharing with you what happens on my own journey as I do it with you all for the rest of the month in my stories. Cool, sound good? All right, great. So finally, before we go into our closing, I'm so excited because as I mentioned to you, we have our sponsor, Vital Body Therapeutics, who is amazing. Jen is actually here, one of the founders, has been here in the chat. And one of the things that I'm so inspired and why I love Vital Body Therapeutics, and I hope you all feel this, I really am not trying to sell you shit. Like, we don't need that. This is really authentically something important, and the integrity of this company is the reason why we asked them to come in to the kingdom and offering them such a big space in this way, is because when I talked to Jen on the phone, she said specifically to me, what most companies do is they tell you, buy this product because you'll feel more love in yourself. Buy this thing and you'll end up being more beautiful. The way that they do everything is they say, no, this is about you actually honoring the love that already exists within you. She said that to me on the phone before we even knew the topic, right? Before she even knew the topic. She said, we've created these products to help people nurture the love that is already inside of themselves. And you'll feel that when you use it and when you have it. And so the fun news is, first of all, everybody gets a super special discount. We're putting it in the chat box, and you can just scan that QR code. It immediately will give you the discount. Take a picture of it if you need it, and we'll send it to you in an email after the show. But everybody here in the room at the Kingdom gets some of the products for free. So they've sent us everything. All of you will get some free goods from Vital Body Therapeutics, and we're super, super grateful and super thankful for this opportunity. Okay, take the slides off the screen because I'm gonna skip a few. Yeah, get rid of. I mean, they could be up here, but just off the virtual screen. So, choir, I'd love for you to come back up. We're gonna get ready to sing again in a moment. And yeah, we're good now. And so I would really love it in this moment if we can just take a moment and put our hands over our hearts, right over the center of your chest. Close your eyes and take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And if you could think of one golden nugget, one key takeaway from this session today, one key takeaway, what would that takeaway be? What is the main thing you're taking with you from this session? And then take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And this is scientifically proven to help you remember it. Open your eyes and type it into the chat box. And those of you who are here in person, share it with someone. What is your takeaway? And I'll have a few of you call it out. This is the reason we're having you share is not just for fun, it actually helps you remember. So share your takeaways. What is your takeaway? You could say a few if you have a few. And I want to see your takeaways in the chat, family. If I walk up here, Phoenix, it's okay to see them? Hey, friends. So I'm looking at your takeaways. A few of you in the room, do you want to call out a takeaway? What you got, Ezra?
Love the part of you that's resisting loving the part of you.
Love the part of you that's resisting loving that part of you. Right? Okay. And what else? Other takeaways? What you got? We are all acorns, create the conditions that help you grow into an oak tree. Great. Any of y'all got a takeaway for today? I am enough. That's it. That's my takeaway. And then some of you here, I'm just coming close so you all can feel me. My mom says, Barbara, look in the mirror and say, oh no, not today, bitch. I love me. That's literally what my mom wrote in the chat. Now you know why she's my mama. Marie, the truth that I am unconditionally loved. Diane, grateful for my wonderful 60-year-old body. Kalani, love the me that's on the journey to self-love. Hillary, big mantra feels uncomfortable. That's the one. Sandy, find supportive, life-giving community that lives outside of the patriarchal matrix. Hello. Elka, I am wonderful as I am.
Yeah, you are.
This is beautiful. This is beautiful. Paul, I just can't stop reading him, says, I am yours, Lord. It's beautiful. Beautiful, Paula. Beautiful, everyone. So we have our final moment for you that we're really grateful to step into. And, you know, we started today with saying, I am enough. And we're going to end today with a song that I think many of you will know. And I want you to feel this song as a prayer, maybe a little differently than you've ever thought about listening to this song in the past, and see what comes up for you. This is Just the Way You Are. If I can get my thing in, hold on. Okay, let's do it. So if you feel the lyrics to this song, they'll be there for you. Just sing with us. This is a prayer for you.
Oh, your eyes make the stars look like they're not shining. Your hair falls perfectly without you trying. You're so beautiful, and I tell you every day. Yeah, I know, when I compliment you, you won't believe me. And it's so sad to think that you don't see what I see. But every time you ask me, do I look okay? I'll say, when I see your face, there's not a thing that I would change. 'Cause you're amazing, just the way you are.
Sing it with us.
And when you smile, the whole world stops and stares for a while. 'Cause you're amazing, just the way you are. Yeah, your lips, I could kiss them all day if you'd let me. Your laugh, you hate, but I think it's so sexy. You're so beautiful, and I tell you every day. Oh, you know, I never ask you to change. If perfect's what you're searching for, then just stay the same. So don't even bother asking if you look okay. You know I say, when I see your face,
Come on.
there's not a thing that I would change. 'Cause you're amazing, just the way you are.
Sing it from home. Come on.
And when you smile, the whole world stops and stares for a while. 'Cause you're amazing, just the way you are. The way you are. The way you are. Yes, you're amazing, just the way you are. When I see your face, there's not a thing that I would change. 'Cause you're amazing, just the way you are. And when you smile, the whole world stops and stares for a while. 'Cause you're amazing, just the way you are.
Thank you, Kingdom family, for coming to the Kingdom today. You can get up and dance. Give it up for these amazing singers, our incredible band here. We're so grateful, we're so thankful. And I hope that this session today helped you love your body in a way that you never thought possible, that helps you disrupt the systems, dismantle the systems, and become the acorn that you know you've always been, to grow into your highest version of yourself, exactly as you are. Keep it going, come on. We're gonna dance a little bit here. You can get up and dance with us, come on. This is the Kingdom, everybody, we love you.